online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What's up, AfterBuzz TV fans? We are here in the studio doing a Spotlight On interview with Susan Santiago, actress. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we're playing the happy song because Susan is happy. She loves this song. I mean, it's hard to be angry when you're listening to this song.
How can you
it's
not
so
get
fun.
up and dance?
You gotta dance, right? It's so fun.
It's your pick-me-up song.
I love it. We're raising the roof here at AfterBuzz TV already. So Susan is in the new Fast and Furious film, Fast and Furious 7, which premieres April 3rd, correct?
For the public, yes.
For
the premiere
public.
is actually April 1st, but yeah, it'll be out in the movies on the 3rd.
So you're having an April Fool's premiere. That will be interesting. I wonder if there's going to be some weird questions on the red carpet that day or some flower bombs. You never know.
Or are we not here?
I know, right? It's like April Fool's premiering in a few days. I am really excited to see Fast and Furious 7, and I'm dying to ask you a bunch of questions about it, but I know you probably can't spill on most things because it hasn't come out yet. But you're playing a nurse in it, correct?
I am Nurse Santos, which I love that name, by the way. One of my favorite girlfriends, her name is Linda Santos, so it was a pleasure to be able to play with that name. But yes, I'm excited about it, and it's coming out on April 3rd, and I am a fabulous nurse, which is all I can say because they did make us sign a non-disclosure agreement, but it does promise lots of illegal driving and wonderful heists and the beautiful camaraderie that they share on camera.
Well, and if you're playing a nurse, you know something must go down where someone gets injured or something happens. I mean, I know you can't tell. I can't.
What I can't
spill
say
too
is I'm
much,
good with my hands.
Oh, hear that, boys? That's so great. I am so excited about Fast and Furious 7. I mean, it's so hard not to bring up Paul Walker with this. I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with it, with this film. And, I mean, you haven't been in the other films, but do you happen to have a favorite Fast and Furious out of the ones you've seen?
You know, all of the ones that the whole crew is on. I mean, the first one, I think there was a couple of the 6 that they went somewhere else and they didn't have the whole cast. But all the other ones, which they were good too, but they were just different. The ones that included the whole cast, you know, to me are the most wonderful ones because you can see the family structure there and how much they adore each other and what they would do for each other under any circumstance. And that's what I really love about the film, besides the action. And of course, there's lots of yummy women on that.
Oh, yes.
So
fast cars,
it's a
beautiful
great movie
women.
for guys and gals. So
I'm excited to see it. I know Universal Studios is opening up a new attraction based on Fast and Furious 7 where it's like this different tunnels and rides and it's supposed to be like 3D with fire.
Right.
I'm excited to go check that out, along with the movie, of course. Do you drive fast? Has it tempted you to?
No.
Pump the brakes.
I'm a very effective and smart driver, but not a fast driver. Unless, you know, I've been known to be rushing to an audition from time to time, but all within 70 to 75 miles per hour.
Good girl, good girl. Not like how they do in the movies where they're drifting all over the place.
You know, I love doing the stunt work. I love riding in the car with professionals, but I don't want to handle it myself because I'm not.
Same here. You don't want to be like in charge just in case something goes
I'll ride
wrong.
on the passenger seat.
So how did you first get into acting?
You know, it's interesting. I've been a performer all my life. When we came to this country, though, I'm originally from Madrid, Spain. My mom was really focused on raising me as a true Spanish woman, which was take care of your home, take care of your husband, and take care of your children. But then when we started to get acclimated in this country, she started to notice how independent the American woman was. And she was like, oh, no, honey, you need to go to school first, get educated, and then think about getting into a relationship. So I thought, okay, so how do I take care of myself in business? So I went to school to get a business degree. which I think was a good idea, by the way.
It's a smart background to always know about business.
Yes, it is. And this industry is a business first, by the way. But then after 4 years into it, I thought, this is great, but I'm not fulfilled, and I want to do something that makes my heart sing. And so I just left it all and moved to New York, and from New York to LA, and then here I am.
So you first moved from Spain to Kansas, correct?
Yes.
How was that transition? Because I imagine that to be quite opposite.
Right? Totally. And difficult because, everything is accessible in Spain. Everything is outside. You walk everywhere, public transportation. And just the logistics alone was different. Everything's spread out in Kansas City. You have to have a car. People don't go out and, hang out. It's really, you have to get to know people, and then maybe you'll be invited and things like that. So it was a bit of a culture shock and a huge adjustment.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, wonderful experience nonetheless, yeah.
And I have to ask, since you're a performer and you've lived in both LA and New York, as performers, it's always kind of this constant battle of which one's better for acting or which one's better for dance in the different arts. Do you feel like you're more successful in one area than another? Or, I know for movies, this is the town to be in, but New York's up and coming.
Yeah, well, New York is a beautiful city, and it's, oh my gosh, New York is really all about the art. And writers, actors, directors, we're all just trying to get our work seen and put it up and show it to people and, break it apart and think of it a new way and express it out there and be expressed. So in New York, everything is about the craft. And in LA, everything is about the business, which is very different. And it was a huge adjustment because in New York, we would be like, oh, I just wrote this play, let's go put it up. And we would put it up in a theater and everybody would just show up.
And they have that worker mentality where it's just work,
and
work,
you know
work.
what? In casting in New York, they actually don't want to see you, like, for instance, like a show on Law and Order, right? And, well, a franchise of Law and Order and SVU at this point. If you weren't known in the theater circuit, you actually wouldn't get an audition to a television show or film. So, but here in LA, if you're known in the theater, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything here. It's more like money or your makeup.
You can't get a job, so you're going to do theater, right? That's really the sentiment. And sometimes, unfortunately,
which is so sad. I love theater acting, real acting, New York and Broadway, and I wish they had more of that out here.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. But at least we have some theaters going on. Groundlings works into Saturday Night Live and things like that. Some going into New York.
We still have good theater here. It's just,
it's not the same as New York.
Yeah, it's not. But it doesn't mean it's not good. It's just different,
So since you are an actress both on stage and film, do you have kind of a preference which one you like more as a performer?
I prefer film. I love the theater. But in the theater, it requires that you repeat the show over and over. And I really like the process of discovering new characters and diving in for a really short period and then going somewhere else. Whereas, some of my good friends, I've been doing a show, 100 shows, and you're like, how do you stay fresh?
Same lines a million times.
So for me, I prefer film, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I love asking that question because some people, they love that energy they get from being, having that audience and that kind of connection. But then it's the same job every day, whereas when you're doing film and TV, you do the job once, it's on to the next thing, and you're not bored. You never get sick of it, and it's always new and fresh.
Right.
But speaking of projects, I know you're working on one right now. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, we're prepping for a wonderful film called Bird and the Bees, and it's a comedy, a romantic comedy, which is so much fun. It was written by Christine McFry, and it's just funny. It's beautiful and funny and hilarious. Finola Hughes is directing the film, and it's starring Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Tracy Spiridakos, and we're going to shoot it in Scotland.
Ooh, that's going to be fun. Do you know how long you're going to be there for filming?
I'm not sure yet, but it's a full feature-length film, so I'm sure they'll be there a while, but my part probably won't require the whole stay.
That sounds fun, though. Going to shoot a romantic comedy in Scotland does not sound like a bad job to me at all. It sounds like fun.
Who else wants to go?
Pack me funny. Sounds like fun. Have you been to Scotland before?
I can't say that I've ever been there, and I'm looking forward to it.
Ah, that's so exciting, especially since you're European originally. You can tour over that area a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's so exciting. So you've been in all different parts. Now you're talking about romantic comedy. You've done some serious roles. You know, sometimes you have to tear up, make the waterworks happen. What do you feel like is your comfort zone for acting?
My heart is in drama.
Okay.
I'm a complete drama girl.
From the theater to the drama. I love it.
My heart is in drama. And, you know, I love being vulnerable, and I love exploring a character's vulnerabilities and just putting it out there, you know, and exploring it with other people and connecting on that level. So, yeah, for me, it's drama.
I'm sure it's fun to play that kind of character, too, because, I mean, we opened with the happy song, you guys. She's such a happy person, so fun, romantic comedies. So I'm sure it's fun to kind of change up your personality and step into someone else's shoes and kind of switch it up a little bit.
My best friend would like that I do comedy, as well as my manager, actually. They think I'm really good at it, but I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do it. I mean, I don't mind going in and doing a quick comedy and then coming back to my heart.
And, I mean, comedy is personally my favorite genre. I love comedy, but when you're pursuing a career in it, like, I'm the funny girl. It's a competitive industry, and it still is for women, especially.
Yes.
So, you know, it's ballsy to get into it, but I like how you're dabbling in both. That's the way to really do it. Be well-rounded as a performer.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to take a break, too, from the drama from time to time.
Oh, yeah. Too much drama is never good. A little drama, always good. So you speak Spanish, I'm assuming? Spanish and English? Does that ever help with acting? Are you ever put in Spanish parts or play, like, Latinas? Or?
Well, of course.
I'm sure
you know, I'd like for
typecasted.
them to expand beyond that, but, you know, Hollywood itself tends to be stereotypical. So if they know Susan Santiago, they're going to say, oh, she's Latina for sure. What can we put her in? You know, just my name is a dead giveaway. So, yeah, I play a lot of those characters, and it's always fun whenever I get to stretch beyond that, though, and it's not really about, you know, your ethnicity or that sort of thing.
Of course. I'm sure that having the background of living in Spain and, you know, knowing Spanish and living in Kansas and New York and all these places have really helped your acting, seeing these different people around the world.
Yeah, it's every place is a different world. I mean, we can even see that here in the United States, how different it is from the north to the south and the east to the west.
It's crazy.
And the accents and the different, you know, dialects, really, because some of the words that you use up north, let's say in New York, is different than something that we might use here in LA. So.
Oh, it's so true. I moved from Southern California to Northern California, from Orange County to San Francisco, in the same exact state, and it was such a culture shock.
Right?
It's a different world completely, like the political views, the people, everything. So it's cool that you've gotten to move around a lot.
Yeah,
and now you're traveling for work. Scotland. So when are you going to be shooting that? Is that in the next few months?
Yeah, it's going to be sometime this summer. So we're still firming up the dates, but sometimes this summer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So do you have any other projects coming up that you're working on?
Well, we're working on it. Nothing I can say just as of yet, but we have a few little, what's the saying in English, in the pot?
Oh, few in the pot getting stirred.
Few things getting stirred in the pot.
Stirred in the pot.
Sometimes I like to
that
say
usually
things.
means, like, stirring the pot usually means drama, but you got a few things, projects coming up in the works.
Yes, I do.
I'm like, I don't know the expression you're trying to use, but
I learned English by sound, by the way. I didn't actually learn or was educated in speaking in English. I was thrown into a classroom and I had to learn by sound. So I always tell people, sometimes I use sayings that I think I know what they mean and I'm totally off. So
sometimes I use sayings and I'm like, what do I even mean when I'm saying them? So
that's how I learn, though, when somebody corrects me. So thank you.
No worries. I mean, I could be wrong too, for all we know. When did you learn English, though? Your English is amazing.
Well, you know, I went to Kansas and I realized quickly that the way that you don't stand out as much as if you enunciate correctly. And actually, interestingly enough, I learned to speak English by watching Young and the Restless.
Oh!
And I imitated Gene Cooper. right? Who played Mrs. Chancellor on Young and the Restless, which was such a nice treat because I ended up working for a year on Young and the Restless.
Show,
and
right?
I got to tell her that I learned English with her.
That is
just
so cool.
And, I mean, I figured, well, she's really wealthy. And so this is how you must speak in English.
Yeah.
But now I get in trouble because they say you're enunciating too much. You need to throw it away. So
it's fine. It means you're speaking clearly. So usually people are like, you're mumbling too much. Please enunciate. So that's like a better problem to have out of the two. But that was kind of like your first breakout role, wasn't it? As an actress?
I just had gotten fresh off the plane from New York. And a few months into it, and I had an audition for this particular role. There was a summer storyline that just kept getting extended because it became so popular. It was Victor Newman, who's played by Eric Braeden, was kidnapped, and I was part of the kidnapping group. I was innocent, just by the way. I was associated with those that were in the kidnapping ring. And it turned out to be almost a year's worth of work.
So you were a fan of the show, and then you got to be on the show.
It was a little bit of a childhood dream, yes.
So amazing. Have you ever had that happen again, where you got a job and you're like, I can't believe I'm on this show. I love this show.
Nothing exactly like that, but I remember when I worked on Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy and Angelica Houston and Steve Zahn, Jeff Garland, and I remember, because between takes, we would just be laughing up a storm. It was just crazy fun. It was crazy fun. And I kept thinking, somebody pinch me, because I can't believe they actually agreed to pay me for this.
You're like, I would do this for free. This is so much fun.
It's insane. I'd be like, okay, I'm getting paid. I know someone's going to figure us out any minute and just say, that's it, we're all cutting you. Cutting the money.
What was it like hanging out with Eddie Murphy on set?
He's great. I mean,
he seems really fun.
He's a nice man, really, and that was before he had won the Oscar. But he was great. Everybody on that cast was wonderful and just open and available and just warm and funny.
It's the best kind of shoots to work on.
Yeah,
very
it was wonderful.
Fun. I love it. Well, I'm so glad that you came into the studio today. Do you have any websites or social media handles that they can follow you on? Just let them know. Well,
I'm on Twitter. I'm at Dizzy Freedom, which is spelled DZZYFRDM. And I am on Facebook as well, Susan Santiago. And I do have a website. It's just SusanSantiago.com.
So go check out her website, all her social media. Just keep stalking it, and you'll see when all her movies are coming out. And be sure to check out Fast and Furious 7. Yay. I know I will be there to check it out. I can't wait. And you can find me on Twitter at Danica Kennedy. I'm your host, Danica Kennedy, by the way. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.